state-of-the-art information from everywhere, which is partially my job. That's what I do as the owner, chief instructor, is constantly searching, seeking for new information. Martial arts is in a constant state of evolvement. It's always changing, growing. So if you're not continually seeking for what growth is happening outside of the school, outside of you, you're falling behind. I pretty much knew I wanted to do this my whole life. I can't remember wanting to ever do anything else. So my goal for the school was I wanted to have the best martial arts school available. I wanted a school that constantly would seek for state-of-the-art information. I've been to a lot of schools where the instructor would reach a certain point, a certain rank. They open a business, they get caught up in the business, and then he ceases to grow and becomes more important to focus on the business. To me, that type of school is dead. So I knew I wanted this school to, have access to the state-of-the-art information from everywhere, which is partially my job. That's what I do as the owner, chief instructor. Jeet Kune Do. One thing JKD does is it looks at every range of fighting intelligently. And tries to find an answer for the individual. One thing it does not want to do is give you a technique and say, this is the technique you use in this situation, regardless of who you are. JKD believes that each individual will find a technique that works best for them and their body type in a given range at a given time. So it will create an atmosphere for you to train in, so you can have self-discovery of those things and pretty much create your own art. It does have foundational basics that you have to follow, but ultimately you are going to be growing your art, what best suits you. Bruce Lee, trained originally under Yip Man in Wing Chun. Came to the United States and, to my understanding, had some opportunities to test out his knowledge and his skill. And when he did that, he started to realize that there were certain areas in his training that were lacking. So he started searching himself to fill the gaps, looking for information to fill in where his current training, current level of skill might not have been up to par. And through that search, he started looking at other martial arts, which at the time was unheard of. It's considered disloyal. But actually now we look back and realize, he was doing something that was tremendous. Through his search, he realized that different martial arts answered different areas intelligently, some more intelligently than others. So he would see those concepts and those ideas, and he wanted to bring them back into his training, as far as I know. And through that, I think he started seeing that there are concepts and principles that weave through martial arts training and martial arts systems that are universal. They have nothing to do with the system, nothing to do with the people that created them, and everything to do with the human body in combat. Just from what I've gathered from talking to Guru Dan and some of the other people who had the opportunity to work with him, that's how he started to create Jeet Kune Do. You know, I first got introduced to grappling under Erik Paulsons. I believe it was around 97, 98. Through Erik, who was in town with Guru Dan, so I would say through Erik and Guru, I was introduced to John Jock Machado in LA. And then I trained with Erik, John Jock as much as I could when I'd go to LA. And then I met Professor, I think around 1998, 1999. And the rest is history.
So we're going to go, before we go to the takedowns on the third one, we're going to just drill takedowns. We're going to go 1 for 1 off of double bicep control. So go ahead and grab Chris.
Well, one of the main points I see in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Gracie Jiu-Jitsu is the difference between a sport-based system and a self-defense-based system. Both are great. It just depends on what you're looking for. For me, when I first got into Jiu-Jitsu, I wanted an answer that would work on the street. So I was led more toward Gracie Jiu-Jitsu because they primarily want to look at the combat on the ground through a street self-defense answer. Then I was introduced to Pedro Sauer.
Go outside, and I'm over here. What's going to happen here? He's going to try to push my face, pass his leg over my face over here.
One of the things that struck me most about it was they base heavily what they teach on body mechanics, positioning of the body, timing, bone alignment, which is important if you are getting a little older. And you don't have the strength you did 20 years ago, or the explosive power, or the endurance, because those things will fade. Intelligent training of body placement, alignment of the body will stay with you. I was fortunate enough to be able to train with Grandmaster Helio Gracie, and I think he was 92, 93 at the time, and still on the mat with his, I guess they were grandsons at the time, and playing around with these kids and doing a good job, surviving what they were trying to do. And to me, that struck me, intelligent growth and body placement. I was sold at that point. Next would be Anjan Greg Nelson. We have him in for our Thai boxing program, but he is also a great influence on pummeling and jiu-jitsu at the school. One of the reasons we have Thai boxing at the school is because how it teaches your fundamental basics, your jab, your cross, your positioning of the body, its basic kicking. It has a exceptional method of development for students to get the structure of the body, positioning of the body, good footwork, good timing of movement across. So I was thoroughly impressed with that. That and Burmese Bondo. I have a larger background in Burmese Bondo, so both influence our program here at the school. That and its development of power. Thai boxing is one of the most powerful striking arts available.
I want to throw the right hand, all right? But now it's just, music always goes from the jab and the punch, right? So it's just straight.
And it develops that knowledge in students too. You see a guy who has been training in Thai boxing for a year or 2 years, he can hit you hard, he can elbow you hard, and he can kick you very hard. And it will continue to develop. It's another impressive thing I've noticed from my study of Thai is, even though I'm getting a little older and I'm not as strong as I used to be, But as my knowledge increases and my ability to do things more correctly, my power is still increasing, still growing, just because of that intelligent manipulation of the body. For me, Kali had one of the best answers I had ever seen for weapons training, and a high variety of weapons available in the system. It teaches you how to use various types of weapons through movement, through an environment. So you're not just learning a single technique. You have to be able to develop it out of a flow. You have to have timing, placement, you have to do it out of action, which is fighting. It's combat. It's never stagnant, stays in one position. You are moving, especially with a weapon. Kali is very mobile because of that. Kali will start a lot of times with the weapons first because it trains the body. It's not so much about the weapon that's in the hand, moving that weapon. It's about how you're translating your body to move the weapon. Once you've got the foundation of the body in place, the same movements translate to the empty hand. A reason to start with the stick or start with the sword is because it's fun. You know, it's sometimes you shadow box, you go for a few minutes, you're bored. You pick up that stick and you start playing in the air. You can put that down, pick up a sword, switch to a knife. You pick up a flexible weapon. You're basically training the same mechanics, but you're able to switch tools and train, even without a partner. It's fantastic for development of body placement, timing, and movement. One of the first things that struck me about KFM is they start training against 2 and 3 individuals at one time. So you're learning to fight multiple opponents at once. When I first was introduced to it, I had never seen a system do this. I'd seen a few attempt it. You know, they would put 2 guys in there against you and you try to survive against both of them. But to be quite honest, I'd never seen one do it intelligently. It was the first system I was introduced to that could handle that environment intelligently, and it had a plan. KFM is very smart with its training. It has a specific set of techniques, training methods to develop the student instead of just throwing you in there and say, you know, here's 3 guys, go fight them. Professor Steve, he has a school in Jonesboro, Georgia, and he's a good friend of mine, and I knew he was looking at something a little different than me. Like I said, I'm constantly talking and looking, and I was just fortunate that he was close to home. So I would go down and train with him. I probably started out every 2 weeks. Professor Steve was a cop for almost 30 years, and he would see the same things too. You know, same thing, going to the gun range and shooting something that's 25 feet away is nothing like what he would run into on the job. So how to fix that? And some of the things he was doing in his class, and he really didn't have it organized yet. He was just saying, we're going to do this because I think it's a good thing. But looking at it, it was very intelligent how it was starting to come together. And Steve is an outstanding organizer. So he started talking a little bit, and before you know it, he had organized and created this program to fit in that slot. And to be quite honest, I don't see anyone else anywhere doing it. I know there's a lot of people out there teaching defensive tactics and handguns and trying to mix them, but I've never seen it done that intelligently until now. Well, the law enforcement guys, the SWAT guys, one of the biggest problems I seen when I started to work with them is, they're doing the latest fad. For instance, like right now, grappling is popular, so they're going to have a grappling instructor come in and teach them grappling methods, which is good. It could be beneficial, but it is in no way tailored to what they have to do every day. It's not really tailored for the gear they have to wear, the weapons they have to carry, the environment they have to be in. So that's what I started to do, is develop programs that were designed specifically for their environment. At first, I had to go do their training. I had to go to SWAT camp. They would loan me some of their gear. They'd loan me like the bulletproof vest, a couple of the belt rigs, and I brought it back to the school and would train in it. And things are different with that gear on. So you started to see, if I'm on the ground, I might not do this technique that a civilian is doing because he's going to have on a t-shirt and jeans. I've got a weapon which I've got to protect while I'm trying to deal with this guy who's trying to kill me. So plus sometimes too in the SWAT environment, I've got 8 guys behind me who could help out if they're trained to help out intelligently. So with all that into consideration, we started training around those ideas. And then, they would go to a DT room. They had a nice mat, which is okay. We started there, but our goal is to eventually go out into a house that we don't mind destroying, put the gear on, and then I actually put them through their paces, the environment. I get to be the bad guy. I'll attack you at some point, and you have to deal with me with full gear on and full kit on.
Man, please, search warrant! Search warrant! Got one left deep! One left room.
So, changed it a little bit, which they liked. The ones I've worked with so far have not had anyone create that for them yet.
Hi, my name is Stacy Roberts. I'm a bodyguard or an executive protection specialist with the International Protection Group out of Manhattan, New York. I've trained and been Special Forces in the Army, SWAT cop for almost 9 years, and been in the executive protection business for the last 4. I can't say nothing but high things about Atlanta Martial Arts Center, high praise, and I think they're a first-class group, and I don't think anybody would go wrong training here.
The Bodyguards also, I would see them doing different types of systems. This particular system is popular right now. Let's go do that. It has to be good. Everybody's doing it. But if you look at what their job is, how they have to dress, they have to protect a principal, and they have to be a certain distance from that principal. And it's their job to protect the principal, not to fight the bad guy. But they're learning systems that to do this system, I have to go fight the bad guy, which makes no sense. My number one goal was to protect the principal and get him out of here. So I'm literally leaving and fighting at the same time. And though we're not supposed to say this, you have to take into consideration cameras that are taking pictures of you. You're working for this guy. So if you get caught in a picture holding somebody like this, you're fired and you're sued. So the techniques you use have to fit that previous environment, and they have to look innocent.
Hi, I'm here at Atlanta Martial Arts Center with Alan Baker. Alan and I have been friends since 1997. I met him at Sifu Fang's seminar. Alan is very well gifted in many different martial arts. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, CSW, He's a full instructor under Guru Dan Asano. He's under Sifu Fang in Wing Chun. He teaches many, many different martial arts. If you don't believe me, just go look at his wall. He's got tons of certificates. I don't even know all the people he's trained with. He's a great guy, very honest. He's here all the time. Great temperament, very patient with the students. He's the epitome of the way you want to be or turn out after you've done martial arts for a long time. When you get a chance, if you haven't got a chance, make sure you come down and meet Alan Baker and train here at Atlanta Martial Arts Center.